Welcome to the Tiger Interview Series.
What's up, everybody? It's Spiker. Welcome back to another edition of the Tiger Interview Series. In this episode, Dave and I talk about recruiting services. Are they really worth it? Please subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Spotify. You can also watch this on Spotify and YouTube. Also, you can follow Dave and I on Twitter. My handle is @SpikerHelms. Dave's is @David_Burkby. Enjoy this episode. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Tiger Interview Series. My name is Spiker Helms. Across from me is David Burkby. And the topic for today is recruiting, and more specifically, We've talked at length at this in many of our episodes, but I want to make this a really short one, something that's easily digestible and give you guys some action items. Also, kind of want to put some things out there from third-party vendors, people that contact you and cold call you and asking for your money and promising you the world. This is not a statement that trying to protect you from anything. I just want to give you the information from an insider's perspective. And being around this game, I've been recruited. I have helped players get recruited. I have excellent relationships with college coaches, and we also have a former Power 5 coach in our staff. So giving you that background, I want to jump into the topic of third-party vendors calling you and saying, hey, we can reach out to college coaches for you. But before we jump in, Dave, what's your thoughts on this subject? Because it's a action-packed one, but I wanted to get your initial thoughts.
Yeah, well, what we're talking about is recruiting services. That's the common term, okay? Mm-hmm. Recruiting services, there's a lot of them out there. And they will get a hold of your email. They will get a hold of your contacts, and they will send you a lot of information. All right. And we have not necessarily been the biggest supporters of recruiting services. And here's why. Not to say all. Okay. I do want to preface this. Not all are bad. Okay. But there are a lot of recruiting services that will cold email you, cold call you, cold mail you. They'll do snail mail. They'll do anything in their world to get in touch with you and then promise the absolute world to you. And I want you to ask yourself one question. How do they know you? How do they know who you are? How do they know how good you are? Because they're telling you they can get you to college right off the bat. They will get you to the next level. Do they know a thing about you? Do they know your grades? Do they know your height and weight? Do they know your personality? Do they know your work ethic? Have they ever seen you swing a bat? Have they ever seen you throw a ball? They haven't. That right off the bat should be a little warning sign to you. But once they get you in contact for the first time, the bad ones will literally go down a list. They will say, we have had 400,000 people go on to the next level, and this and that, and these schools all over the place. And
we have these type of partnerships.
Yeah, and we will send out all these emails on behalf of your son, and they'll sell. What they will sell you is the simple and easy route to the next level. And let me tell you, there is no such thing. That does not exist.
You have to ask yourself on the product end of things, what product or service am I purchasing? All the other stuff is noise. So if you get asked the question, you get approached by one of these people, and then you look at their website, and their website looks like it's back in the early 2000s, that's a red flag. Run away. That's not that, because if you're looking at recruiting services, it's a software as a service. It's a consulting service as well. So if they don't have one of those two things, it's not going to help you. And the other thing that you have to think about is, where are the coaches' attention? That's the most important thing. If you know where the coaches spend their time and their attention, that's where you're going to be able to get recruited, because you either can play or you can't play. There's only so much that you can do to where, all right, what skills do you have? Can you play at this level? Can you help produce for this team? If the answer is no, then you cannot play at that level. I'm sorry, being frank, you cannot play at that level at that time. Now, maybe you go to junior college, you get some more skills, you gain some more speed, all the things, and then you can be able to jump to that level. That's definitely a possibility. So first off, attention where the coaches are. The coach's attention is either A, in their own team, which in the spring, they have full attention on their team. 2, they're in their email inbox constantly. 3, they're on Twitter. So if you see them, they're more than likely scrolling through Twitter. They might be silent. They might be one of those people that just scrolls. They don't tweet by themselves. They literally have an account that is probably anonymous, or they have an account that is theirs, or it's their team account, and then they'll be able to scroll through and find players. 4, they also go through PBR and Perfect Game, those showcase companies. Then 5, I'll add a 5th one in there, is that they go to conferences, ABCA, and they talk with their other coaches, their network, and they learn about players through the word of mouth. That's where their attention is. They're not looking through third-party recruiting services. They're trying to figure out, I need to know his skill level, and I need to know what this guy's about.
Yeah, and I mean, I've talked to a lot of them, and to be quite honest, that their inboxes get flooded with that stuff. I mean, recruiting services, they're not lying when they'll say they'll send out 1 million emails on your behalf. That is a truth. They're not lying on that.
It's also called spam.
The problem is if you put yourself in a college coach's situation and you open up your email inbox every day and you have 200 different recruiting service emails on Johnny over here and Timmy over here and Billy over here, and he's so great and everybody's so great and this, and check him out. What are you going to do? I'm going to hit the X button, because a coach only has so much time. So a coach has to delineate which ones are the real emails from players, which ones did a player actually put some time and effort in. Because I'll also put it this way. If I'm a college coach and I look at a player and he doesn't have the time to sit down on a computer, write a personal email to me with some video included, and tell me why my school is a fit for him, I don't have time for him.
It's authenticity.
I don't have a single minute for him, because I know then he's going to cheat on a workout. He's not going to be the guy who shows up late or shows up early and stays late on a practice, because you're looking for the short-term answer that doesn't exist, guys. It's not there. Long story short, this is what fires me up about some of the recruiting services. Again, I preface it. Some, not all, but most tug at the heartstrings of parents and players. Okay? Every parent has the absolute 100% best intentions for their kid. And what I've found, I'm not a parent yet, what I've found is that they will do anything for their kid to provide them with the best future possible. So when a recruiting service comes in and puts this fancy future in front of you and says it could be yours, all with a small down payment of $300 and monthly payments of $29.99, you'll do anything you want. Or you'll do anything they tell you. And that's where the problem comes in. That nothing can replace good old free hard work.
I'm going to use Sal Frisella's quote here. I can meet you at the 50-yard line, but you have to get to the 50. No matter if you choose a recruiting service, you choose a club, you choose a showcase, you choose just hard work, just grinding it out, sending out emails, actually picking up the phone and calling these people, going on Twitter and sending out your videos. Like, it's not a one-click thing. It's not a one moment thing. There is no overnight success. It's a build up. You have 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. It's that amount of buildup to then create that overnight success. That then you get to put out the commitment graphic and get the whole accolades and everything like that. Every single dude that we have had that's been able to put a commitment graphic on there, they might not say it consciously, but they've had to put some type of hard work into their stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, with that said, there is a 1%er that literally they pop off a number and next thing you know, they've got a bunch of coaches coming on top of them.
Yeah, but that's
Again,
so rarity.
keyword 1%er.
Not even.
If you think you're a 1%er, you're probably not a 1%er.
You have to ask a question.
Yeah. If you ask the question, you're not a 1%er.
Yeah.
You just are.
There's nothing that literally can be put into the same area as literally doing the research yourself, the work yourself, putting in the time to write out to the contacts and the coaches yourself. And I'm talking to the player. There's nothing that can replace that, because when you go through that process, and it does take time, and it is hard, and it is cloudy at times. You don't understand where you're going. There's not a straight road to this. It is a zigzag, up, down, back and forth type of deal. But when you work through it, you finally figure out what you're looking for out of the next level, what you're looking for out of a program, from a coach, from an educational standpoint, how far away you want to go from home, big school, small school, whatever it may be. You will find out what is you. You don't know that right now when you're starting out. You'll have no idea. You have the same dream that everybody else has. I see the same 8 teams in the College World Series, and that's where I want to go play. And then once you start to work through the process, that might change. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Don't look for the easy route. The easy route never gets you to where you want.
I will say this. I've been very quiet on recruiting services up to this point. And the 6 years that I have been doing this, where I've actually been doing the thing, if you want to count my playing career as well as trying to figure out if I want to jump into club baseball, out of all the players, I've only had one family that has actively said that they use a recruiting service has been happy. Out of all the players I've had, there's only been one family.
And I know who you're talking about too. And I remember the conversation vividly, but I'll say this, because I did preface that not all are bad. In that situation, that one individual, and to be quite honest, I have no idea even who they used. And I'm not going to put whoever they used on blast anyhow or good, right? But I do remember them talking about how that person took the time and detail to find out who that person was, and had like 6 to 10 hour-long phone conversations with the family to go through that. Which, guys, that doesn't exist in that world very often. Okay, that really doesn't happen, because what you'll find out is those people, they don't see that as a return on their investment in terms of time. Mm-hmm. They don't see the 20, 40, 100 hours you got to put into an athlete, which a lot of other people do on a regular basis. The recruiting services don't see that as very profitable. Okay, that's just the honest truth. They see the funnel that they can put you in and send that stuff out and all the other stuff that they can do for you, which really then puts it all back on the player anyhow. Yep. And what are you paying for? That's all I'm saying.
If you're not in a position where you can't get consultation, which I'm hoping that this podcast is part of that consultation, then yeah, I could see it being useful. If you're not part of a club that doesn't provide those resources, I could find that useful. Mm-hmm. But if you're part of a club that has people that have played college baseball, have been in college baseball, why would you need a recruiting service? So if you are a person who's listening to this and you don't have the resources, then yeah, maybe that is a possible option for you. But overall, I don't think that there's a need for a lot of players to use those services. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm going off of my limited experience. And again, I'm only one person, and I've had a handful of players. But again, I would ask your questions if you do get approached and they keep on peppering you. Why would they need to keep peppering you if their service works?
My simple question would be my simple statement would be this: take what we said and then go apply it. Do your own research. All right. Do not take me and Spiker's word for it as the absolute 100% truth. This is our opinion. My opinion is based on the 12 plus years that I've been in this business. His opinion is based on his past. Okay. We have experience, but don't take it for what we're saying as 100% truth. Go do your research. If you're getting approached by these services, vet them. Vet them way before. Ask some of those questions I talked about. Literally ask them, well, how do you know me? How'd you get my contact information? What do you know about me? How can you help me? Like, how are you different than anybody else? Okay? Ask them these questions. See what they say. Then look at the money that they're asking you to pay and ask, hey, am I already getting that with my club? Is that something that I can do on my own? Is that something I'm willing to do on my own? If you're not willing to do it, I mean, then I guess you can try it, but you're probably going to have a short career at the next level because you won't be willing to do other things. And that's just the frank, honest truth on it. But again, do your homework. That's all we're saying.
Guys, our whole mission is to educate, train, and grow the game. And sitting on the sidelines on this is something that I can't do anymore. I'm willing to go into the front and say, hey, this is how I see it. Now, if something changes with recruiting services and the product ends up being a lot better and I see that it's actually benefiting players,
let's go.
I will come out and say that. But until then, I can't endorse that anymore. And if you guys need help on recruiting, please look back at our previous podcast. I'll actually link all of the episodes in this episode description box. So just scroll down to the description box. You'll see all of our episodes that we've talked about recruiting. We talked with Coach Pratt, who was a Division I Power 5 coach. All right. Me and David actually did a whole tactical guide on when Corona was going on, how we can actually get players to the next level if coaches couldn't see them in person. Mm-hmm. And all of those tactics are still can be applied right now. Now you just have the benefit of coaches actually being in person now. So I implore you, before you jump into and spend money on stuff, do your research, do the hard work, meet us at the 50-yard line, and we'll see what happens after that. Guys, that's this episode of the Tiger Interview Series. Subscribe to the channel, 5 stars preferably. Also, if you want to listen more to Dave and I, we also have another podcast called The Closing Pitch. That's more of our hard takes on business, sports, our lives in club baseball. If you want to come over there, would love to have you.
And more importantly, if you have a lot of questions on this, any are welcome. Any questions are welcome on this topic. We will answer them to the best of our abilities.
We'll take the hard questions. We'll take the soft questions.
That's what we're here for.
I like the soft questions better. But
I'll take the hard ones.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.